cashless society.
Cashless society.
Cashless society.
Cashless society.
Cashless society.
Cashless society.
Hello guys, it's the man great. Yeah, so today nimekuja na brand new topic. At least we continue to share this education and tujue what's happening around our society today. So today we're going to talk about the cashless society and artificial intelligence. Unajua saizi penye tunaishi, we have this technology of which we have to accept it, and the things that are coming ndio tunafaa sasa to accept. Juu sasa how are we going to deal with it? So anyway, there's a program enye hata US ina launch. It's called the Fed Now program. It's going to launch, I think wanataka ku launch in July. It is a cashless society. Tunaingia. So unajua kitu moja hata niwaambie, like kama for example the dollar imeshi kuwa powerhouse because that system ya the monetary fund, hiyo system imekuwa ikicontrol a lot of economies. So the dollar ni kama imekuwa na value kuliko zile zingine zote. That is why hata Bitcoin nini, everything that tunatumia today as in dollar imekuwa ikihusika sana. The money ya US. Right now, unajua US inakuanga superpower. Kama tumekuwa tukitumia dola yao, meaning that hata watulete something else, we're going to use it. But as of now, US ni kama ina lose its power. But kumbuka bado iko in power. Hata kama ina lose, bado iko still in power. So they are trying to create this Fed Now program. This Fed Now program, it is kitu yenye it's supposed to usher people into this cashless society, because we are getting into this cashless society. Do you know, actually they say that 2023 ndio mwanzo ya new world order. 2023, it is the beginning of that world order that they are trying to create. Unajua wana join forces sana. Ukiona our leaders, our global leaders ati wanaenda wanaungana, wanapatana, and you have never heard of this, unajua there is something. There must be something. They are up to something. So today we're going to talk about that Fed Now program, AI, and how Elon Musk ali respond to AI, the owner of Twitter. So Elon Musk pia anajua AI si kitu fiti, na anajua that itakuja kuleta madhara, iko na madhara yake. He was saying that he was talking to the owner wa mambo na AI and mwenye wana initiating hizi program, and he was saying that guy alikuwa like not even serious, and even Elon Musk called him a digital god. So there is this AI, na kuna this thing wanaitati world ID holders. Kuna even an application imedesignwa, imetengenezwa, inaweza kupatia watu some digital identification. So you really need to embrace yourself about this. So ningependa tuweze kuget some insight, tuweze kujua what's happening and what's not happening. So guys, continue watching until the end of the video. Now don't forget to like, share, comment na subscribe bana. Let's dive into the story. Yeah.
Now we're going to talk about a project we haven't heard about in a little while, but it is back and it is incorporating AI. So WorldCoin has released its first major consumer product, and it will help you prove you're human in the age of AI. WorldCoin co-founder Sam Altman is also the co-founder of OpenAI, and he's brought the two together with World App. The app is supposed to serve as some kind of digital passport, giving humans access to apps and services gated to World ID holders. World ID holders are the people who have had their retinas scanned by one of those WorldCoin orbs.
Aman Jabi has worked in Silicon Valley for 28 years. His background includes work on deep technologies that are involved in the new digital prison system being designed by big tech. In 2020, he moved to Montana and became a whistleblower, warning the public of the very real threat about to be unleashed upon us all, known by many as the Mark of the Beast system. Aman explains how accepting the digital ID is the basic premise behind it all.
So by default, a digital identity implies that you are always in a digital prison. Since you have a digital identity and you're in a prison, you are by default a criminal. So we don't trust you.
Just like the old system, this new one is also voluntary. And you are supposed to know that it's a digital prison that you are voluntarily signing up for. And the reason for this is because in this new system, having a digital ID will be proof that you are a criminal. Because having a digital ID means that you are in a digital prison. And because you accepted it, you must be a criminal. Because of this, there is a new protocol being introduced with this system, known as Zero Trust.
How is zero trust going to be used? Here's a lady, she wants to go and buy some beef, but let's say her carbon footprint or her beef footprint for the month has been exceeded. That door won't open.
This digital prison is sneaking up on us all. There is no need for an implanted chip because everything is being done with facial recognition, which is already plugged into the entire system. America already has more cameras per capita than communist China, and our social credit score is already being logged. All we need at this point is a series of events that lead us all into having to make the choice of either accepting the new digital ID or saying no. Since the lockdowns, new state-of-the-art LED lights have been replacing street lights in cities throughout the West. Aman explains that this is all part of the plan. These lights will be connected to everything, including your phone and your car. And in new cars, that includes 16 different cameras with LiDAR and sonar. These lights are being outfitted with LED incapacitators, which is a light technology that was first announced 15 years ago, back when it caused enough brain damage to make a person sick. It's been 15 years, and our Silicon Valley whistleblower believes that this technology is now capable of people. Ultimately, we can say no to this.
But if there's a critical mass that doesn't sign on to the digital ID, then this agenda gets weakened substantially.
But we will have to first unify and come together.
Politicians around the world are trying to gradually reduce the usefulness of cash until they can eradicate it completely. It scares the hell out of governments to have people in control of their own money, at which point you should really ask yourself, what kind of government is that? The whole thing about currency is that you don't need to know how it works unless it stops working. And when it stops working, everybody needs to know how it works because your wealth, the future of your children, everything now depends on that. If we go to a future where digital cash is the only form of cash that exists, and I think we're heading in that direction very, very fast. I think within 20 years, people who grow up 20 years from now will never see cash unless they visit a museum.
Cashless society.
Cashless society.
Cashless society.
Cashless society.
Cashless society.
Cashless society.
If we go to that future, digital cash, we're at a crossroads because we have to choose between two possibilities. One is digital cash that's run by corporations that act not only as intermediaries in all of our payments, but also act as deputized members of law enforcement for every government and or intelligence agency and or dictator who co-opts them to their means. That type of finance takes the worst of surveillance capitalism and the worst of surveillance states, merges them together in this fascist dystopia where every transaction you ever made tells something about your habits, your politics, your associations, your movements, your physical location. On the one hand, all of this data gets collected and shared among all of the intelligence agencies and corporations or leaked. And on the other hand, if the people in power choose to, they can decide to debank you overnight. They turn off the switch. Now imagine what happens if your bank account is shut down and cash doesn't exist. Well, you can't eat. You can't buy food. Done. You can't use transportation. You can't rent an apartment. They can literally destroy your life in a second. And if you think this is crazy, this is happening today in China. They have a system called Sesame. It's called a social credit score. And they use your social media postings to give everyone a score as to how well they toe the line of political correctness to the doctrine of the Communist Party. People who have a negative credit score on that system are denied access to public transportation. They're denied access to airlines, they're denied access to trains, they're denied access to jobs in the government, they're denied access to apartments to rent. They're doing that today. Now, Today, those people have cash to go back on. What happens when there's no cash? If the only people who are allowed to be intermediaries are the large corporations, they will commit the crime. It's like if you want to rob a bank nowadays, the best way to do so is to have a banking license. Then you can rob the entire bank and or country with complete immunity or impunity. If you rob one person and steal 20 pounds from them, you're going to jail. If you rob 2 million people of their homes and mortgages, right, you're not going to jail. You're getting a 10 million bonus from the bank and you're retiring in peace and quiet in the countryside. There are two ways to express power in this world, voice and exit. When voice is no longer sufficient, and sometimes even when it is, exit is a more powerful expression. And exit means get your money out of the system, get yourself out of the system, and reduce your exposure to the ridiculous system as much as you can. Bitcoin is a means to switch from expressing power through voice to exit. This is one of the things that can compete with banks. And banks really need competition, right? They're way too comfortable with their power and established systems. As I've said many, many times, the election choices facing Americans were a choice between blue Goldman Sachs and red Goldman Sachs. You can choose the color, but Goldman Sachs is still going to be in charge. And if you think your vote is going to make a difference, you're a fool. But in a broader sense, we live in a world that is very fragmented, where money faces borders, very hard borders, strict lines of demarcation between countries and currencies. And you have these national currencies that are badly managed by governments and banks in countries where there is very little difference between a government, a bank, and an organized crime syndicate. All three are the same. The governments are organized crime syndicates. And so what happens when they have a crisis is they take the entire population hostage with them. They shut down the borders. They create currency controls. You can't withdraw money from the ATMs. You can't exchange money for another currency. You go with the ship and sink down with it. Bitcoin is one of those things that actually offers a safe haven in that particular situation. But it also allows people who have never had a bank account to connect to a global financial system. And Bitcoin bypasses all of that. It gives everybody a currency that is open and global. That creates some very interesting conditions in the world. It allows us to create a kind of unified financial system that exists outside of the mandates of government, that is completely private and is very empowering for individuals.
And so scares the hell out of governments and banks.
It scares the hell out of governments to have people in control of their own money. At which point you should really ask yourself, what kind of government is that doesn't believe in freedom of association, freedom of expression, freedom of commerce? That's more of an indictment of that kind of government than it is of Bitcoin. If your government is afraid of Bitcoin, you should ask yourself, what kind of government do I have? Creating a currency that does not belong to a nation seems weird at first. But then again, we used to have airlines that only existed for one nation and had the flag on the tail, right? Flag carriers, they called them, and phone companies that were monopolies in one nation and had the flag on them. And now that seems absurd. And I think within 20 years, the idea of national currencies as the only option will seem absurd. So Bitcoin is a currency that exists on the internet, that is created on the internet, that really serves the needs of the internet generation. It does not belong to any government. It's not controlled by any bank. Bitcoin isn't a company or product or a service. It's an internet protocol. It's a method of communication, just like we say the web or email, and that doesn't belong to anyone. It's a shared common public good on the internet. Bitcoin is a digital currency and payment system that is a shared good, and it is controlled collectively by the participants in the network.
Founded by David Rockefeller, the Trilateral Commission has been an arm of the globalist deep state since 1973. Last week, at their annual meeting, a speaker who cannot be identified according to commission rules said that we are now in a period of structural inflation that will last for decades. They said that the free market is over and industry now sets policy. And they said that this year, 2023, is year one of this new global order. Days later, the Federal Reserve Bank announces a July launch for their new FedNow service, which was first announced in October of 2021. The too big to fail banks and all the large processors are already on board, and so is the U.S. Treasury. The first week of April, the Federal Reserve begins the FedNow pilot program for early adopters to become certified participants to help the Fed confirm readiness for their July launch. FedNow is an instant payment processing system that seeks to be the base of all digital transactions. acting as an umbrella company to manage all financial payments. This has been shown to be the gateway to a central bank digital currency, CBDC. FedNow is much like the Reserve Bank of India's instant payment system, the Unified Payments Interface, or UPI. UPI has had huge success in converting rural communities into a complete cashless society. According to the International Monetary Fund, UPI democratized the payment system and paved the way for central bank digital currencies. Central bank instant payment processing is also how the Central Bank of Nigeria introduced its CBDC.
The AI may be in control at that point.
You think that's real? It is conceivable that AI could take control and reach a point where you couldn't turn it off and it would be making the decisions for people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
No, that's definitely the way things are headed. Larry Page and I used to be close friends, and I would stay at his house in Palo Alto, and I would talk to him late into the night about AI safety. And at least my perception was that Larry was not taking AI safety seriously enough.
What did he say about it?
He really seemed to be wants sort of a digital superintelligence, basically digital God, if you will, as soon as possible.
He wanted that?
Yes. He's made many public statements over the years that the whole goal of Google is what's called AGI, Artificial General Intelligence, or Artificial Superintelligence. And even if you say that AI doesn't have agency, well, it's very likely that people will use the AI as a tool in elections. And then, if the AI is smart enough, are they using the tool, or is the tool using them? So I think things are getting weird, and they're getting weird fast.
So what's the timeline here? At what point does it start to really change our society, do you think?
I think it starts to have probably an impact this year. GPT-4, now it's like writing poetry. And
pretty decent poetry, actually.
Pretty decent. Its skill at rhyming is incredible.
Yes. Yes. And it's coherent.
Yes, it is. It's even got a narrative.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So you could say
that's hard to do.
Like most humans can't do that.
That's true.
So it's already past the point of what most humans can do. Most humans cannot write as well as ChatGPT.
At least by now tumeweza kujua that we live in a very, very dangerous place. And as things are going by now, manze inaogopesha. Lakini instead ya kuogopa, tuendelee kufanya shughuli zetu kawaida na tuendelee at least unajua ukifanya shughuli yako ukuwa na knowledge, some knowledge. Ni vizuri kukuwa na know-how. And ukiweza ulizwa ati what's happening in our world, you can be able to explain and useme by the way kuna this and that, are you aware of this and that? At least inakukeep ahead of the game, na inakukeep more educated and more knowledge. At least knowing that utakuwa unajua your environment. Knowing your environment, it helps you a lot to grow. So umeona the dangers that zimetokea na zitatokea. So we really need to take care of ourselves, and we really need to know the good things also, as well as knowing the bad things. So ni vizuri sana like mumeweza kufika to the end of this content. Now I hope that you like, comment, share na kusubscribe, and stay tuned for the next video. The next content itakuwa another thing we're going to learn. I hope that mume enjoy, and I hope that mtendelea kuenjoy and get more knowledge. Thank you. It's the man. Great. See you in the next episode. Peace. Fire.